Today is Friday, December 5th, 2025. This is episode 10, the San Pedro Haunting. Tonight, we open a case file unlike almost anything else in American paranormal history. A haunting so violent, so persistent, and so heavily documented that it occupies a unique position between a classical poltergeist case and something closer to a fully intelligent, mobile entity. This is a San Pedro haunting, also known as the Hernández Case, a documented series of events beginning in 1989 in San Pedro, California, and continuing years later in a small trailer home in Weldon, California. Unlike most hauntings, this one followed the witness. Unlike most poltergeist cases, this one produced photography, videotape audio, recordings, and eyewitness testimony, including an event where an investigator was nearly hanged by an unseen force inside an attic. Tonight, we are not dealing with mere legend. We're dealing with recorded evidence, testimony, and events covered by parapsychologists, police, neighbors, and national television. This is a case file of Jackie Hernández and the entity that refused to let her go. Chapter 1. A house with a history. In the summer of 1989, Jackie Hernández, a young mother of two, moved into a small, aging bungalow on West 11th Street in San Pedro, California. She was recently separated from her husband and under emotional stress, but nothing in her life prepared her for what she would soon experience. The house had a reputation among neighbors. Some said previous tenants left unexpectedly. Others claimed that the home didn't feel right. But Jackie didn't know that. She only knew she needed a place that she could afford. Within days, subtle disturbances began. Jackie heard scraping sounds in the attic, footsteps overhead, and tapping along the walls. This wasn't unusual for a rundown home, and at first she dismissed it. But the noises grew louder, more powerful, as though someone was dragging heavy objects across the attic floor at night. Soon, Jackie witnessed objects vanishing and reappearing in strange locations. Household items she had just used would appear on the other side of the house minutes later. Then came the liquids, brownish, viscous, substances dripping down the walls with no apparent source. Investigators later documented these fluids on film. Most disturbing to Jackie were the shadows, amorphous shapes moving across her living room and kitchen, forming and dissolving faster than her mind could rationalize. On multiple occasions, she believed she saw the outline of a man watching her. But once the entity realized Jackie was aware of it, the haunting escalated. Before we get to chapter 2, we're going to do the quick patron shout out. We're going to switch to the patron pitch shout out cam. Here we are. So, I forgot to light up my moonlit chest right there. That's it. We're going to reach in here. The names of all my patrons are in here. And we're just going to give somebody a quick shout out. Who's it going to be? Jacqueline Booth, thank you for supporting the Moonlit Ghost and this channel and everything that I hope this channel can be. Thank you. Quick Patreon shout out. You can join any tier and get your name in the Moonlit chest for future live stream shout outs and other shout outs and other videos that I'm planning on making. And you also get, on any tier, you get access to the edit and create your case files on the Moonlit archive. Let's get back into the San Pedro haunting. Chapter 2. A Mother Under Siege. By fall of 1989, activity in the house grew violent. Jackie reported being shoved, pulled, and grabbed by unseen hands. One night, while carrying laundry, she felt something try to push her down the basement steps. Her neighbors, skeptical at first, began experiencing phenomenon when visiting. One witnessed a heavy picture frame lift off a nail and drop straight to the floor as though deliberately removed. Jackie saw full apparitions. A bearded man, disheveled, pale, staring with hollow eyes. He appeared in doorways, behind furniture, and once, according to her testimony, standing beside her children's crib. Terrified, she contacted local paranormal investigators. That team referred her to a more experienced group led by Dr. Barry E. Taff, a well-known parapsychologist who had investigated over 4,000 cases, including the famous entity case in Culver City. Dr. Taft's team agreed to investigate the San Pedro home. What they found stunned even them. We've got Chapter 3, the investigation begins. We've got one person in the stream at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. I think I'm just going to continue to do these live streams and find a format that works. I'm going off script at the moment, but I enjoy doing this. I think maybe this format could grow and work if I just keep at it. But so I appreciate you showing up. Oh, looks like we got 2 people on, and we got Chips and Quack, man. When I was talking to you in the stream, was that last night or maybe the night before? I did not realize who you were. I know that, like, I know you in real life. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. We got a comment from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, numbers aren't always accurate until you check analytics a couple days later. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Looks like we got a couple people in the stream. Awesome, guys. Thanks for showing up. Right now, since I have your attention, I'm just putting these case files, just interesting cases together. I'm just putting them in short kind of little chapter blurbs and sections. And I'm, for the time period, I'm just going to just read these. At one point, I was like reacting to live like videos, like interesting videos and things like this, but I was having problems like with channels flagging my content because I didn't have like music license on their channels or whatever. But maybe I'll do like a Patreon live stream where I can actually react to people's YouTube channels and stuff like that without getting in trouble with YouTube. So that'll be fun. But as for right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm just reading interesting case files that interest me. So thanks for showing up, guys. Chapter 3, the investigation begins. When Taft's team arrived, they set up 35mm cameras, video equipment, EMI detectors, EMF detectors, and audio recordings. Almost immediately, activity began. Shadowy forms appeared in hallways, strange orbs and light anomalies appeared in photographs. This was long before digital photography, long before dust particles could be blamed. One photo showed a misty, serpentine form twisting above the investigators. But the entity grew more aggressive with the team present. During their early sessions, the group heard loud bangs from the attic, accompanied by dragging sounds directly above where they were standing. Electric equipment malfunctioned repeatedly. The camera lifted slightly on its own and collapsed. A team reported a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. Several members felt sudden nausea and disorientation. One captured a shadow figure briefly crossing a hallway. But the most alarming incident of this phase came not from equipment, but from the entity targeting one of the investigators. His name was Jeff Wheatcraft, and he would become the central witness to one of the most violent paranormal attacks ever documented in the United States. This is a really crazy story. I haven't done extensive research onto this on this story, but what I've read about it, it's really remarkable. There is truth to the claim that if you think about something like a ghost or a spirit or an entity, you kind of give them more energy to appear and kind of manifest in different ways. And this is why I tread lightly on these haunting stories, because I don't want to invite these dark entities into my home. But the problem is I have experienced stuff like this my whole life, and it's fascinating to me. So I walk this line of trying to understand what's going on, but not being like obsessive about it, not trying to invite these types of things into my life and whatever. But it is real. It's very real. There are spirits all around us, and they're in different forms. Some are good spirits, some are bad spirits, some are like poltergeist entities. And poltergeists are not the same as like intelligent spirits. They're different types of creatures. It's very interesting. It's very fascinating. That's just me going off script, but let's get back to the San Pedro haunting here. Chapter 4, The Hanging in the Attic. And this story, you can look up all of the documentation on this. There's video evidence of this. There's interviews of the people involved in this. There's photographic evidence of a lot of the things that happened in this case. Chapter 4, The Hanging in the Attic. On their third major investigation night, the team decided to explore the attic where most of the noises originated. Wheatcraft volunteered to go first. He climbed the ladder into the darkness, holding a flashlight and a camera. Another investigator, Gary Boehm, followed behind him. Within seconds, Wheatcraft shouted for help. Boehm climbed up behind him and froze. Wheatcraft was dangling by the neck, a rope tightening around him, pulling him upward toward a rafter. The rope had not been in his hand. He had not stepped into it. It had somehow wrapped itself around him. The other investigators rushed up the ladder and grabbed Wheatcraft, fighting to pull him down. The rope tightened, resisting. Everyone in that attic reported the same sensation. Something was pulling him upward. They managed to free him. Photographs taken seconds afterward show the rope in position, looped around a pipe, not positioned like a natural fall, not tied to human hands. Later, Wheatcraft said he felt hands pushing him, forcing his head into the noose. This incident was photographed and corroborated by all present. It remains one of the strongest physical attack claims in paranormal literature. From that moment on, the investigators believed the entity in San Pedro was intelligent, malevolent, and capable of harming them. Jackie fled the property soon afterward, but the haunting did not end. Yeah, this has a Disney's Haunted Mansion vibe, the good 2023 one, not the Eddie Murphy one. You know what? I think I agree with that. I've seen both versions, and yeah, I think I saw the Disney's Haunted Mansion like when it came out. I think I only watched it one time, but yeah, that was interesting. I think I did like that one. I think that was a good one. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that had a very interesting ending. Anyway, I can't really remember exactly. It's been a couple years since I saw it, but yeah, this is kind of wild. Chapter 5. The entity follows. Jackie relocated to a trailer home in Weldon, California, nearly 200 miles away. She hoped distance would free her from whatever lived in the San Pedro house. But within weeks, the activity began again. The same phenomena, objects flying across the room, liquid seeping from walls, shadowy figures appearing, whispering voices. The feeling of being watched constantly. Then came something even stranger. Several witnesses saw a floating, disembodied head. A male figure, bearded, matching the apparition seen in San Pedro. Investigators believe the entity might be connected to the property's history. Taft's team discovered a sailor named Herman Hendrickson had died under mysterious circumstances near San Pedro Harbor in the 1930s. Some speculated his spirit may have been restless, but this remains unproven. However, multiple witnesses in both locations reported the same apparition. This was not a typical poltergeist case, which usually remains tied to an individual or a home. This was something more complicated, a mobile haunting, seemingly attached to Jackie herself. The researchers returned for a follow-up investigation in Weldon. This time they captured moving light anomalies on video, as well as unusual audio recordings of knocking responses to questions. But the atmosphere felt darker, angrier. Jackie described waking up to see the bearded apparition hovering inches from her face. Her emotional state deteriorated. The house felt unsafe. She feared for her children. By late 1993, the activity sharply diminished and eventually stopped as Jackie moved again and rebuilt her life. The entity did not make another documented reappearance. Before we get to chapter 6, interpreting this case, I just can't emphasize enough that this type of stuff really does happen. I've had instances where I have seen full-bodied apparitions. I've seen shadow figures. People will try to make a distinction between waking ghostly figures and figures that appear when you're having what's called as a night terror or a sleep paralysis. I've had night terrors and sleep paralysis for many years of my life. And yes, I agree, there's a distinction between what happens during a sleep paralysis episode and when you're awake, but I've had both. I have seen ghosts when I have been fully awake. And I've had the classic sleep paralysis experiences where you open your eyes and you're conscious, but you're paralyzed. You can't move. And it's like your dreams play out in front of your eyes, inside your room. Very often there will be like these shadowy figures, kind of demonic faces and things like that. And it's pretty awful. I know that a lot of people do experience something like this at some point in their life, but I experienced this almost every day for about 2 years of my life. It's real. It's real. Chapter 6, interpreting the case. And when I say it's real, I don't mean like dreams are real. I mean there are spiritual forces in this world. that interact with you and I on a daily basis. What happened in San Pedro and Weldon remains controversial, but the documentation is extensive. Here are the major interpretations. Theory 1, a classic poltergeist triggered by trauma. Dr. Taft's primary hypothesis is that Jackie's emotional state may have triggered a psychokinetic manifestation, a poltergeist created by unconscious human energy. But this theory struggles with the apparitions, and especially with the entity following her. So this is interesting because, you know, a lot of people think that like a poltergeist is like it's a classical ghost, just like causing trouble in somebody's home. And it can kind of be like that, but a poltergeist is kind of what this just said. It kind of follows people around, people who have like bad PTSD or like abuse trauma or something really terrible happened in their lives. And it's just very dark emotional energy. And it's not necessarily a ghost. People can interpret it that way, but it's something coming out of you. It's like that turmoil coming out of you and actually physically interacting with the environment around you that's causing maybe objects to move. And then but that happens kind of subconsciously, and you don't really understand why it's happening, and you think it's like an intelligent ghost haunting your house, but it's actually coming from your soul. It's like coming from your spirit. It's very strange. And so that's why they thought maybe this was a poltergeist. She had trauma and these things were happening, but that usually doesn't involve actually seeing apparitions like disembodied heads or actual spirits. Theory 2, an attached intelligent spirit. Because the entity appeared in 2 locations and interacted with the environment intentionally, some investigators argue Jackie attracted a malevolent spirit. This is supported by the consistent apparition descriptions, targeted attacks, repetition of phenomena across locations, and the hanging event. Theory 3, a residual haunting mixed with intelligence. This is actually very interesting. Some suggest the San Pedro home had its own history, but the entity developed a fixation on Jackie. This hybrid model is rare, but occasionally cited in cases involving long-term attachments. Theory 4, a combination poltergeist and haunting event. A minority of researchers believe a natural poltergeist effect created an energetic environment that allowed an external entity to manifest. That's kind of crazy to me. This would explain the physical violence combined with intelligent behavior. There's all sorts of combinations of how this could play out. And sometimes a perfect storm happens and these things come about in very strange and interesting ways. And when I say interesting, that's not to say that I'm not trying to diminish the significance of this. I just mean it is interesting, but it's also very scary and dangerous. It's fascinating. Skeptical interpretations. Skeptics have proposed misinterpretations of shadows, psychological stress influencing perception, camera flashes creating anomalies. But these explanations don't address a photographed rope tightening around Wheatcraft, multiple eyewitnesses to physical attacks, liquids on walls, video anomalies, the consistent apparition across 2 distinct locations. Even skeptics generally agree the documentation makes the case unusually resistant to ordinary explanations. Why this case matters. Unlike most hauntings, the San Pedro case has multiple independent witnesses, photographs, video, audio recordings, a near-fatal physical attack, 2 separate haunted locations, investigators present during live phenomena, national television documentation, a long-term timeline, and a clear, traceable history of events. It stands alongside the Enfield encounters, the Amityville before, some people think Amityville was debunked, but the South Shields Poltergeist and the Doris Bither case as one of the most thoroughly recorded hauntings in contemporary American paranormal research. To this day, no definitive explanation has been reached. Jackie Hernández moved on. Her children grew up, the investigators published their findings, but the entity remains unnamed, unclassified, and unexplained. And the photographs, the video, and the testimony are still there, preserved as evidence of something that should not exist, yet did. This concludes the Moonlit Archive case file on the San Pedro Haunting. I want to say thank you for joining the live stream. One day, I'm going to write and maybe document on camera all of my experiences. I've had a number of them over the years, varying in degrees of craziness. Once again, I am very grateful for everybody who showed up. Thank you for joining the live stream. I'm going to take the weekend off from live streaming, but we'll start up again Monday through Friday. Hopefully I'll be able to pin down a consistent schedule. Right now, my current schedule is kind of in flux. But that's the goal. Monday through Friday, in the evenings sometimes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rocky Horror Picture Show and Chips and Guac. I will see you Monday. Have a good evening, and may you have a good night.